Howdy folks. There's one specific moment from Lord of the Rings that has come up a lot lately in relation to mine and my wife's artistic journeys. It's the moment that Frodo stands above the fires of Mount Doom with the ring and is incapable of throwing it in. This was a really frustrating thing to watch as a kid. I didn't appreciate the magical source of Frodo's hesitation. All I could think was, dude, what's wrong with you? You came all this way. Just drop it. So even as a kid, you identify with Sam's frustration in seeing Frodo's turn. But as an adult, you recognize Sam's reaction not as annoyed frustration, but as broken-hearted despair. He knows exactly why Frodo can't drop the ring. He's watched the ring's influence over his friend grow this entire journey, and now, at the very end, it's won. Frodo wants to keep it.
The ring is mine.
This video isn't about why Frodo couldn't destroy the ring or the ring's symbolism. This video is about that universal moment that we all feel as we stand on the brink of accomplishing something but find ourselves incapable of taking that step. This can happen at any point in the journey. You can be reluctant to start a project, to pick a project back up in the middle, or finish the dang thing after you spent so much time on it. We all experience that same moment from both Frodo and Sam's perspective. From Frodo, we experience the inability to do the thing that we claim to want to do. And from Sam, we watch in despair as our own actions keep us from achieving our goals. You like drawing, yet you won't draw. You like writing, yet you won't write. Frodo, on principle, likes destroying evil, but he won't drop that dang ring. There are many reasons making things can be so hard for people. I think it's very fair to blame our modern social media landscape for our broken attention spans. I've spoken to so many people who admit to not enjoying scrolling through TikTok and want to stop, but are just so hypnotized by the process. And it's not like it's a personal failing or anything for us to seek the mindless comfort of social media. It's all by design. Just how it's not a moral failing for somebody to get addicted to nicotine, that's the whole point of the product. With cheap dopamine so easily accessible, it's no wonder we always reach for our phones and YouTube instead of a paintbrush. Because even if you like painting, it's still work. And it's so easy to coddle ourselves with the notion that we aren't totally wasting time because we are watching art videos or tutorials or some other inspirational content. There's so many good things out in the world that keep us from doing the best things. Another reason so many people fail to take that first step is fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, especially if you intend on sharing your art afterwards. The knowledge that it will be made public really piles on the pressure. The process of making this animation perfectly illustrates this problem. This animation took me a very long time to complete. I started months ago and would occasionally return to the drawing to poke at it a bit more before abandoning it again. I know I wanted to make a video about mustling up the courage to do the things we want to do, but I couldn't do it. I stood there for a long time beside Frodo, flirting with the idea of doing this animation. At the same time, my past self is standing behind me like Samwise, begging me to just do it, create the art. But in the face of all logic, I couldn't. It was just so much easier to not do anything, an idea I touched on in my John Henry video. So how did I do it? How did I muster up the self-control to create this animation and make this video? The answer is both unsurprising as it is unsatisfying. I didn't take any medication or use some life hack. I just did it. I know that's miserably undesired advice, but that's the hard truth of creation. Sometimes you have a desire to create, and sometimes you don't. If you want to be a professional artist, however, you have to be able to create despite your changing moods. That was one of the most sobering realizations I made early in my career as an artist. The difference between the people who succeed as artists and the ones who didn't was the unstoppable ability to create, even when they didn't feel like it. Because at the end of the day, working as an artist is just like any other job. You'll work on projects you don't care about, with people you don't like, but you've always got to deliver. I am, of course, talking about making art professionally. Those who want to make art for their own sake have the same struggles, but they also have less pressure, which I think is a huge boon. That's a big part why I wanted to start this channel. I wanted to make art that was completely untethered from any outside pressure. I'm not getting paid, I'm under no contract, I just want to create art and talk about stories that inspire me. But whether you work for a client that's paying for your art, or you're just making it for your own edification, both are beholden to the same truth. You just have to reach deep down within and do it. Nobody can make you create. My wife is a phenomenal artist, way better than me. Just an all-around talented writer, illustrator, and world builder. She worked with some pretty big names in publishing, but even though she's creating original IP with industry legends that she loves, she still struggles to sit down and work in the morning. To a lot of people, it looks like she's doing her dream job, and in many ways she is, so that makes the inability to work all the more frustrating. Hence our recent obsession with this idea of Frodo letting go of the ring. My wife identifies with Frodo, frustratingly incapable of doing the thing that must be done. So I wanted to make this image, something we can print out and pin to her inspiration board as a reminder that she's right there. She's already come so far. She just needs to do it. I personally don't struggle with this issue as much as my wife, but I definitely empathize. I often have to psych myself up and quote that Shia LaBeouf meme before getting to work.
Just do it!
And I know many other creators struggle with the same. You've come so far. All the work you've done in your life has led you to this point. Keep going. Whether you're at the fires of Mount Doom or you're Bilbo before he sets out on his adventure, the decision to act is the vital step. It transports you from the world of the spectator to the performer. In an effort to provide actionable advice and not just the empty platitude of try harder, I will tell you what I think makes a big difference in making it up the slopes of Mount Doom. And that is, of course, finding your Sam. In Lord of the Rings, Sam is Frodo's most important support system. He went from being Frodo's gardener to becoming his best friend, cook, bodyguard, and eventually Frodo's legs. The point is that Sam is whatever Frodo needed. Words of encouragement, physical sustenance, a reminder of home. Sam's job was to get Frodo safely to Mordor to fulfill their mission. I'm not saying you have to find that person in your life that lives to help you succeed in your goals, though that would be awesome, and if you can find that, good for you. Instead, you need to find that thing, or more likely many things, that keep you going. What inspires you to create? What motivates you to finish your projects? What makes you feel like life is beautiful and worth living? You want to find the things that bring light into your life and surround yourselves with them. It's a simple truth that the better you feel, emotionally, physically, spiritually, the better equipped you are to do the things you want to do. We all have various antagonistic forces in our lives that have that same negative effect as the ring. Mental illness, living conditions, and relationships can all hinder us in reaching our goals. Often we are powerless to remove some of these obstacles from our lives, but we do have the ability to weaken their influence. And that's what Sam did for Frodo, and that's what we all need to do in order to climb our mountain. Eat healthier food, exercise your body, surround yourself with people that care about you, consume media that inspires and uplifts your soul. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be your mom and tell you to eat your vegetables. That wasn't where I thought this video was going when I sat down to create it, but you know what? It's sound advice. Your mom was right. I stand by it. Sometimes we just need to be reminded of the simple truths we know for us to kick our butt into gear. Thanks for hanging out with me while I animate Frodo. I wanted to talk about this idea for a while, and I'm happy to finally have it out. I'm sure this won't be the last time I talk about Lord of the Rings on this channel. There are many more wonderful moments and good storytelling principles for us to explore in that world. Stories are powerful tools for shaping our souls, and that's why I'm so obsessed with storytelling and finding stories that inspire the best in humanity. I have a lot more stories I'd like to explore on this channel, and art I want to make in relation to them. If that sounds like something you'd be into, then stick around. Until then, go make something.